All right, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Just go ahead and click that subscribe button, please. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on SouFLoTV or every time a follow-up to one of the stories we've covered before is uploaded. You are notified. This story right here is one of the follow-ups to a story we covered a while back about a young man in the UK who was suspected of killing 4 members of one family in one house. One of those was his girlfriend and the rest of her family members, right? If I'll drag your memory a little bit before we get into what the update is. She was getting her flat renovated. She decided to go stay at her family's house. She figured, it's a close-knit Jamaican family, but they're living overseas in the UK. So she figured, I'll go spend a week with them while my flat gets renovated, and I'll take my boyfriend with me. It's a good time to have him meet the family, kind of thing. Well, long story short, that simple visit to her family, bringing her boyfriend over for the first time, family had never met him before, ended up with him killing everybody in the house. Crazy story. So here's the update as of December 28, 2023. It says, a man has been found guilty of murdering his girlfriend and 3 members of her family in a drug and alcohol-filled attack in South London. In a drug and alcohol-fueled attack in South London. Now, when this story first broke, it was said that he had mental issues and he snapped. He lost it because he was supposed to be checked into a mental facility. And he was having paranoia, schizophrenic thoughts, and that's what was going on with him. But today, it says it was about drugs and alcohol. Maybe he was taking too many drugs and the drugs sent him into a psychosis. I don't know. But that is where it's at. So Joshua Jacques, he's 29 years old. He killed Samantha Drummond, who was 27 years old. He killed her mother. Damn, he killed her mother, Tanisha Ofari Akufo, who's 45 years old. He killed her grandmother, Dolette Hill, 64 years old, and Dolette Hill's partner, Denton Burke, 68 years old, in Dermondsey in April of 2022. So just a little over a year ago. Jacques is from Lewisham, and he had denied murder, but he admitted to manslaughter. In other words, he pled guilty to a lesser charge of manslaughter than murder. Jurors of the Old Bailey found him guilty following a 3-week trial. He was on trial for 3 weeks. During the trial, the jury told Jacques, who had been in a relationship with Miss Drummond, the 27-year-old, the jury told him, claimed he was suffering from a mental health condition when he killed the family. This is what he told them. He said he was in a relationship with her, but he was suffering from a mental health condition. He was going through it mentally when he ended up snapping and killing the whole family. That's what he said in court. And the court heard how he attacked the family in the middle of the night before being tasered by the police, who broke into the terraced house in order to get to him. He had a standoff there. One of the stories was that the older woman, the grandmother of the house, she has rules to her house like any elder Caribbean person. You can't just show up at their yard, at any hours of night. And you can't just, if you live there, you can't just go out anytime you feel like it and come back in pushing door and knocking key in the door at 3 o'clock in the morning and them things, and 4 o'clock in the morning and them things, you got to have your own place to do that. They have rules and regulations to their thing. And most of these older Caribbean people, they seasoned a different way. So it was one of those. And he wanted to go out. And the old lady said, well, she ain't old. She was 67. But the grandmother said she can't have people coming in and out her home. And what she does, she has a routine that she does. Once everybody is settled in for the night and she checks on everybody in her house, she normally locks the front door downstairs, which is one entrance exit to the house, and she takes the key upstairs with her into her bedroom to go to sleep. So here is him, Jacquees, being in that house and wanting to leave in the middle of the night when his head starts stirring up crazy thoughts, and he couldn't leave because he was locked in the house. And then he started making a whole lot of noise. Let me out of this, let me out. But they wouldn't let him out. They were like, no, we can't let him out like this. You know, he's going to be a menace. He's going to hurt himself out there. Well, he ended up hurting everybody in the house instead. Jamaican-born NHS worker Miss Hill and her partner, Mr. Burke, that's the grandmother and her partner, a trained chef employed by Westminster City Council as a sanitation worker, according to a fundraising page to help with funeral costs, lived at the property where the 4 were found dead. Miss Ofori Akufo was a nurse who lived in Kennington and had been staying there to help her mother with her cancer care. And her daughter Samantha, who lived in Forest Hill, was also a regular guest the trial heard. See, the first time we heard this, she wasn't she was a regular guest, but she hadn't stayed there in a while. And she used to go over there and stay like a weekend at a time and stuff like that. But she had been so busy before, she hadn't stayed there in a while. So when she was getting her flat renovated, she figured she would just take that time to go spend some time with her family and bring her boyfriend along. Mr. Burke's body was found at the foot of the stairs, and those of the 3 women were found all in the kitchen. Damn. I don't know how all of them ended up in the kitchen dead. Did he pull them into the kitchen after he killed them, or was the kitchen his fort where he was fighting and each one ran in and got killed? Armed officers discovered Jacquees naked, laying in the upstairs bathroom in a praying position, screaming, Allah, take me, kill me now, get rid of me, and God, please forgive me. Remember, he wasn't trying to, he couldn't open the door because the woman who had the keys to the door, she was dead now, right? And she had refused to open the door to let him out. And that's when he snapped and started knifing everybody up in there. So the police said they break the door in to get in. And when they got in, they had to taser him. Mr. Burke. So armed officers discovered Jacquees, the young guy who did everything, naked, laying upstairs. That's crazy. Could you imagine that? He upstairs in the bathroom in a praying position, laying down. Sideways, laying down his side, but his hands are clasped. Or was he naked with his ass in the air, laying on his knees, like how Muslims pray, right? Allah, take me, kill me now, get rid of me, and God, please forgive me, jurors heard. Later, at Lewisham Hospital, Jacquees said, I ain't even in the wrong. I did them for sacrifice. And also, he warned, I will do something stupid like this again. I will do something stupid like this again. I ain't even in the wrong. I did them for a sacrifice. And I will do something stupid like this again. Yeah, he definitely got some mental issues going on. Damn. Prosecutors told Little Casey Little said that the 4 deaths were violent and brutal the way he did it. All of those deaths occurred during the same incident. In killing 4 people, the prosecution says that the defendant murdered 3 generations of one family. 3 generations, because he murdered the girl, he murdered her mom, and he murdered her grandmother. 3 generations of women of one family. Mr. Little said that Jacquees had taken a mix of drugs and alcohol that had led to a transient psychotic disorder, not meeting the requirement for the defendant to make out a partial defense or diminished responsibility. So, he doesn't have mental issues. He was freaking experimenting with drugs, and he mixed some kind of drugs and had an adverse effect. Jacquees looked down and shook his head in the docks in court as the jury foreman read out each of the 4 guilty verdicts. Members of the victim's family expressed relief, with one of them saying, "Thank you, Jesus." At the funeral at North Peckham Baptist Church, close friends told BBC London MS Drummonds had been about to turn 28 years old and was planning on moving to Ghana when she was murdered. The 27-year-old that was getting her flat fixed, she was about to turn 28, and she was planning on moving to Ghana after getting her, and then she got murdered. While Miss Hill was beginning to recover from her cancer, things were looking up. She was fighting cancer, but she was going into the remission stages of it. Judge Mr. Justice Brian adjourned sentencing until February and remanded Jacquees into custody. So he is currently still locked up. He has been found guilty on 4 counts of murder, and he will be sentenced February 9th of 2023. Damn. So it's drugs that did it. This young lady, she went to nursing school. She graduated. She is a registered nurse. And the boyfriend that she picked up, I remember, she had been seeing him for a while, and she was hesitant to bring him around her family, because you know how Caribbean family is, right? So you bring a certain type of people around, you're on the up and up. You're impressing your elders, which is how they love you to do. They have a thing planned for you when you're growing up. You're going to go to school, you're going to get a degree, or you're going to go to a trade school and get a trade. You're going to go off into the world as an adult and be progressive and productive and represent your family well. She was doing all of that. She was an independent person, as in able to take care of herself, pay her own bills. She has a lucrative career field. She's a nurse, right? And she's living her life. The problem is the individual that she chose to be with, turns out she was with him for a while, and she had not introduced him to her family until now, because they kept on, according to witnesses that have witnessed them over the years. He used to come by her flat, the flat that she's getting renovated, how she ended up over there. He used to come by that flat. He didn't live in it, but he would come there pretty often, and he would spend a lot of time there, and they would have big blown out fights there. And he was very disrespectful to her and treated her a certain kind of way, where even her close friends and other people were like, "Yo, get rid of this guy. Why you with somebody like this? You're doing good for yourself. You're beautiful. You can get somebody good. Why are you with him?" So she was very hesitant to show him to her family or introduce him to her family, because she didn't know if she wanted to leave him or not. It's somewhere in her plans. It was to end this relationship some way. It was also said that she had tried breaking the relationship off before, and she did break it off before, but he kept coming around, so she resumed the relationship with him. I guess she thought, listen, I'm busy with my life. This is familiarity. Jacquees is who I know, so I might as well stick to the evil I know and try to work things out with him. Taking him for the first... Could you imagine you take somebody for the first time to go meet your family, finally, and he kills you and everybody in the house? That's crazy. So hit that subscribe button, but hit the bell next to the subscribe button, because we're going to stay close to this story, and we're going to ride this one out all the way till February 9th of 2024, when he is sentenced, to see what his sentence will be. I know it won't be one of them sentences like Jamaica sentence. He killed 4 people. He's probably never coming out. This is a life without the possibility of parole type of thing, but we'll see what it is. I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Y'all be careful. Remember, be careful who you let into your house. You know, it's crazy to see some young ladies sometimes, even older women, do this. Highly accomplished, very independent, as in earning their own money and being able to pay their own bills. And they pick up some bums. Some unemployed, like Jacquees was, some unemployed street dude, or some lazy ass man who sits around smoking and drinking and nothing to add to her situation except dick. That's it. And companionship. And it ain't even good quality companionship. And then it ends up like this. Y'all be careful. And be careful how you let your family members bring strangers to the house. See, my grandparents, right? Old West Indian people. My grandparents, they had rules like this. They didn't give a damn if you were 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. My parents, who are their children, could not bring a lover home and say, grandma, and say, mommy, daddy, this is my boyfriend or my man. Okay, you introduced them, but guess what? You can stay here for the night, but he can't stay here. Same thing for us, which were their grandchildren. We could bring somebody there. We could introduce them. But unless you were married, you sure as hell could not be coupled up inside of their house. And I think sometimes when we stray from tradition, some of the things that these elders did, they did it for a reason and it worked. And I think some of the stuff they did, we need to revisit some of those things and keep some of those traditions alive. Imagine if her grandmother at 67 had decided, you can stay in here, but Jacquees gonna have to get a room down the street because no man is locking up in my house coupled up with my granddaughter, and y'all are not married. I'm not encouraging shack up living. That's what my grandmother used to say. She's not encouraging no shack up living, so you gonna have to go stay at rent a place close by, something. But you can't sleep in here. And that was out of respect for the sanctity of marriage. And that was out of trying to help to prevent what they call it now, fornication, or what's the next one? When you're not married but having sex out of wedlock. You know the word. Anyhow, I'll catch y'all on another video, man. I don't want to put any more salt in this wound. This must be bitter as hell for the surviving family members. This is deep. To lose 4 family members all at once at the hand of a deranged individual, all because he mixed up some drugs and had adverse effects. People lose their life so simply, like their life was nothing. Damn. I send my RIPs. I send my condolences, because that's all I can do from here. Y'all be careful out there. Be very, very careful. You never know. And it goes down at any given minute. I'm out. Peace.